A minor traffic ticket for an illegal U-turn usually results in a signature on a piece of paper. For 71-year-old Lich Vu, it resulted in a broken neck, fractured skull, and potentially a death sentence.
It's shocking video of a 70-year-old man being thrown to the ground during a traffic stop. The Oklahoma City Police Department has since put the officer on administrative leave while an internal investigation is underway.
You are watching some of the final moments of a man who simply wanted to go home after church. Welcome to the Four Eyes of Law.
The way that your vehicle was located, I'll have to write you a ticket for improper U-turn. Whenever you complete a U-turn...
I didn't U-turn.
Hold on. Whenever you complete a U-turn, you're supposed to be as far to that corner as possible, okay?
Yes, they have another car in front of her. That's why, I cannot parking behind her.
Okay, well, you are required to go as far away between, you're not supposed to be between any cars. You're supposed to be against that curb line.
I don't know what you're talking about.
So I'm writing and issuing you a citation for improper U-turn. Yes, sir.
Citation, she hitting me and I got a citation.
I'm not writing a ticket for her hitting you. Okay?
No, she hitting me. You see the...
I am not writing a ticket.
You see the evidence? No.
Okay. I don't think that you're understanding what I'm saying here, okay?
I understand. I told you. The car, the front of her hand, her to the...
Yes, that's how it works. Because if not, if you don't sign this, you go to jail.
The officer, Sergeant Gibson, demands a signature as if it were a command from a deity. It can clearly be seen that Mr. Vu who is visibly frail from bone cancer, speaks English as a second language as he struggles to communicate. You see the officer's frustration build because of the language barrier as the tension at the intersection is reaching a breaking point. That single tap on the officer's vest triggered a response that defies every standard of modern policing. You are about to see the exact second where an unclear legal command failed and brute force took over. A brain bleed, a broken neck, and a fractured skull. This was the price this 71-year-old senior paid for a disagreement over a citation. Tap the bell and subscribe if you believe the officer's reaction was appropriate or inappropriate. We all know that it's impossible to predict every situation. But let me know in the comments whether Sergeant Gibson's training should have alerted him to treat this slight touch differently than if we're dealing with a hardened criminal or hostile felon. Should state law enforcers be held to a higher standard, or should they be protected by immunity? After an investigation, the Oklahoma County District Attorney filed felony charges for aggravated assault and battery against Sergeant Gibson. However, the State Attorney General stepped in and dismissed every single charge. The AG claimed the dismissal was required because the officer had followed his training. We must note that, to our knowledge, there are currently no criminal charges pending against Sergeant Gibson. However, we analyze below potential legal issues that might present should a judicial authority higher than the State Attorney General decide to pursue criminal charges in the future. However, my primary question is, when is it permissible for an officer to maim or inflict great bodily injury on a person? Based on a mild touch, most people would brush off with an "excuse me." Also note that a short time after the incident, Sergeant Gibson resigned from the police department. This was before Internal Affairs could complete their investigation. We may never know for sure, but this may have been an effort to sidestep an official termination. In many police departments, a cop in this situation will voluntarily terminate as a tactical move. This often allows them to preserve their career in law enforcement. They maintain a clean employment record and obtain a job with another agency. This is known as the bad cop musical chair dance. Further, because they weren't fired, the department from which they resigned will still pay for their legal defense. This also protects their retirement and pension. By stepping down, they essentially heap a basket full of benefits at taxpayer expense. I am Larry J. Brookins, a California trial attorney with over 25 years of litigation experience. This video is for information only and is not intended to provide specific legal advice about a person, case, or to establish an attorney-client relationship. On October 3, 2025, the criminal stakes increased dramatically should there ever be a prosecution. because Mr. Vu died. It was 11 months and 6 days after the incident. His death changed the legal landscape. While he was alive, the primary allegations against the officer would have probably been aggravated assault and battery. However, the death may move this into the manslaughter range. We analyze this case under the four eyes of law to determine the strength of the prosecution and the strategy of the defense. Oklahoma Statute Title 21, Section 646 provides the primary framework for the criminal charges. This law states that an aggravated assault and battery occurs when a person of robust health or strength attacks an individual who is aged, decrepit, or physically weak. The prosecution has anchored its case here because the massive disparity in physical capability between Officer Gibson and Mr. Vu is undeniable. This statute transforms a standard physical encounter into a high-level felony based on the vulnerability of the victim. The defense will likely deploy the shield of qualified immunity to protect the officer. It shields cops from being sued in civil court unless the plaintiff proves the officer violated a clearly established right. This defense specifically targets the federal civil claims rather than the state criminal charges. The Fourth Amendment stands as the ultimate legal command for citizen protection. It serves as the constitutional barrier against any officer who utilizes unreasonable force during a seizure. The court must evaluate the takedown of Mr. Vu under the objective reasonableness standard to determine if the officer exceeded his legal authority. A significant legal hurdle involves the timing of the victim's passing. Mr. Vu did not die immediately after the incident. His death occurred 11 months and 6 days later, while he was also suffering from bone cancer. Historically, many jurisdictions followed the year and 1 day rule. This rule stated that an assailant could not be charged with murder if the victim lived for more than 1 year and 1 day after the assault. However, Oklahoma has moved past this rigid time frame to adopt the proximate cause standard. Under this principle, an individual is held responsible if their actions initiate a chain of events that ultimately leads to a death. This creates the barrier that the defense must overcome in the courtroom. The survival of the manslaughter charges depends on the findings of the medical examiner. The prosecution must prove that the brain bleed or injuries from the takedown were the primary and proximate cause of death. The defense will undoubtedly contend that the pre-existing bone cancer was the actual cause of the expiration. This case will ultimately hinge on a sophisticated battle of medical experts testifying about the specific chain of causation. Son, the family is currently pursuing a civil lawsuit under 42 United States Code, Section 1983. This federal civil rights statute allows the family to sue the officer and the police department for violating the right of Mr. Vu to be free from unlawful seizure. This civil action runs parallel to the criminal proceedings and seeks to hold the state accountable for the tactical choices made during the encounter. Remember that your constitutional rights remain only as strong as your ability to defend them in a court. Please tap the subscribe button and the notification bell if this video has shown you something. Those viewing on a mobile device should utilize the new YouTube hype command to support the mission of this channel. Now check out this next video.